Good morning, Larry. We had something was up. The internet was updating something. Please open Masechet Ta'anit Daf Chafvav Amud Bet. Today is Tetvav B'Av. Let's see what the Mishnah says, what the Gemara says. Let's open the Gemara in Daf Chafvav Amud Bet. This is few lines before the white lines. Rabban Shimon Amar Rabban Shimon Gamliel. לא היו ימים טובים לישראל כ15 באב, can you imagine today, וכיום הכיפורים, שבהן means in these 2 days, בנות ירושלים יוצאות בכלי לבן. All the young unmarried girls wore white garments, שאולים. Each girl had to borrow a garment from a friend, שלא לבייש את מי שאין לו.
Rabbi Prague, where is it citing again? In Ta'anit?
Ta'anit 26b.
Thank you. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
And it's few lines before the end of the Mishnah.
Where does the Mishnah start, Rabbi? I don't see the beginning.
It's one of the biggest Mishnah.
Amud Aleph.
Oh,
that's all Mishnah?
Entire Mishnah.
Wow, I was looking for over here.
It's a very big Mishnah.
Okay.
Now, can you imagine on Yom Kippur, Jewish boys who are not married are looking to find the right girl? If you ever want to have an idea what it means to have a clear mind, a clean mind, this is this Mishnah, yes? On Yom Kippur, obviously the girls were dressed in a way, and this is what the girls are saying. שבנות ישראל יוצאות וחולות בכרמים, ומה היו אומרות? Listen good. בחור, young man, שנה עיניך וראה מה שאתה בורר לך.
See what you pick.
אל תיתן עיניך בנוי, don't look only on looks. Obviously, looks is part of life. תן עיניך במשפחה. Because everyone, each one of us carries the DNA and the heritage of his family. שקר אכן, והבל היופי, אישה יראת השם, היא תתעלה. Now it's a nice pasuk, but we do know that, let's say, the Torah, when the Torah describes Rachel, ותהי רחל, יפת תואר ויפת מראה, yes? By Rivka, by Abigail, by... So the commentators explain Sheker Achen means grace and beauty by itself is Sheker. It's like a zero. If you take a zero is a zero. You put 1 near the 0, the 1 becomes 10. Sheker Achen by itself. Hebel HaYofi by itself. Isha Yirat Hashem Ititalal in her beauty. As in today, which means the beauty adds to the Yirat Hashem, it makes it 10. Today, when someone tells you she's a beautiful girl, what we mean by saying it is she is sexy. But everyone knows if you look at a certain group of young ladies, you see grace, you see greatness, and by others, they scream body and sexuality. This is the difference. I mean, in the summer, you can see it very often. Anyway, this is what they sing, yes? ואומר תנו לה מפרי ידיה ויהללוה בשערים מעשיה. The same chapter in Mishlei 31, this is what some people sing Friday night. תנו לה מפרי ידיה ויהללוה בשערים מעשיה. וכן הוא אומר,
תנו give her from the labors of her hand?
Of course, what she deserves.
What does that mean?
You go to graduation, what you're giving the graduate or the valedictorian is the labor that she worked for 4 years in high school, and she got the highest, 98.9, yes? Nula. I mean, when do you really hear it? The Jimmy, you go to a funeral, but you go to a family affair, yes? I know a lady, Joseph, she was a wife of a successful Holocaust survivor, but very successful. Husband died. She was like 75, and the kids were begging her, "Mommy, come stay with us. We have a palace for you." She says, "I have neighbors and widows that if I come to you, I wouldn't visit them every Shabbat." So once a month, she went to the kids. 3 other weeks, she went to visit. She ate by herself. This is pre-Yadea. It's very nice to be. There's nothing wrong. Each one of us loves it to be with family.
It's interesting. What you're saying true is mostly with older people.
Yeah.
This
correct.
is talking to young girls.
Correct.
So how do you see the beauty of grace of a
it's
young
good-
girl who
it's
didn't
a-
do anything in
it's
her
a good-
life yet?
It's a good question. So Jimmy, if you speak to your daughters and ask them, who was the girl in your class that everyone really pointed out? Remember, subconsciously, she's gorgeous, she's tall, she's pretty, she comes from a good family, she comes from a well family. But if you ask kids Bernat, who do you really respect? Everyone. She's involved in helping kids who are depressed. In every grade. See, Flatbush for years and years, the valedictorian was only grades. Very simple.
Oh yeah, it used to be only grades. Yeah.
Today, grades is important, is a factor. Then you take a vote in the class. Every class, you ask the seniors, who is the girl that you really respect? Who is the boy? And this is a factor also.
But this is very dangerous, Rabbi. With the grades, you cannot argue, but when you pick up somebody, if you think that is good,
Right.
then
But kids,
that I'm worse than her.
Joseph, but kids know the truth. You cannot fool kids. Joseph, I do it every year. Next year I will have only boys, not girls, but do this. Close your eyes and think of 3 boys in the grade that you would not marry. Don't say names. Okay? You have 160 boys and girls. Okay? No names. Tell me why. It is obnoxious, right? Holy. Everyone tells you right away.
Nobody can know who is better than the other.
Oh, Joseph.
But
This is in Sharet Zion, Joseph. In class, they know exactly who you are. It's a fact. Look
The
further.
kids are more sensitive to it.
Joseph,
Kids are very sensitive.
Joseph, ask your daughters.
No, but it's interesting. All these girls are so fuzzy house. That's what we talk
מלך
about.
שלמה, חכה, מלך שלמה, ביום חתונתו, ביום שמחת ליבו, ביום חתונתו זה מתן תורה, ביום שמחת ליבו זה בניין בית המקדש, ייבנה במהרה בימינו. I give an example, Joseph. Upstate, there was a fellow that used to come every Shabbat, then unfortunately became sick and this and that. He has to be really wheeled on a wheelchair. He says, no problem if a boy takes him, even though there's no, bring him. No, he wants a car to bring him to the front of the shul. I said, the car cannot come into him. Fine. Back, he found himself another shul. A friend of his or whatever, a friend means a friend that every Shabbat used to talk together, the entire tefillah, came to me fuming. He told him everyone feels bad for him and everyone wants him to shoot and everyone has a solution for him. If he comes, even if he comes with a car, but don't go with the car into the area of the shul.
Right.
No. Anyway, that Shabbat, someone knocks on my door during the meal. This guy, I realized right away that he's half drunk. So I told him, let's talk outside. He was screaming. He was screaming here. What do you mean? How can you not let him in? I says, we would love him. Anyway, 10 minutes later, his wife came to me crying. He says, you realize he was drunk. I said, I realize and I feel bad for you. You have to stay over there like that. But she's and he said, when he drank, the language for that.
Kiso, Kaso, Kiso, right?
I never told it to anyone because his wife apologized. I said, it's not your fault. I understand your husband is very upset. Yes, but and sure, hey, this is when she married him, Joseph. He was a good-looking man because today he's a good-looking man. And he had money and he has money. But she is married to a super ego, to a man that I'm sure she would kick him as fast as she can to the house. But this is not. Which means you're married for 60 years, but many qualities that we have. This is the Mishnah. Look what the Gemara does with it. Look what the Gemara does with this here. Go now to the Gemara in Daf Lamed Amud Bet. This is the last Amud.
Wow. To get to this part, you have to go 3 pages.
No, because it's the biggest Mishnah.
One question, Rabbi. What's the point of the end of the Mishnah, right? This line. What do you tell me, Matan Torah and Simchat Torah? What does that have to do with everything that we just discussed?
The end of the Mishnah is because Be'emet, these qualities can be found only with the place it has to do with the Torah, only the house that has there.
That's what he's telling you there? That's the message?
My niece in Israel had a friend from England in seminary. Her father was very wealthy and she happened to be good looking also. So everyone wanted to date her. She told her parents, I'm moving to America because here I have a name.
Right, I can't get a fair share.
I want someone to marry me. Of course, eventually he would find out who she is. She really married an amazing guy. She doesn't want anyone. Look now at the Gemara. Bishlom Hayom Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel. You have it this? Now you have it Lametet Amud Bet by the two guys. See,
Lamed Amud Bet.
Few lines before the white lines. It's approximately 2/3 of the Amud.
Okay, thank you.
The Gemara says, Bishlom Hayom HaKippurim Mishum Deit Ve'Slicha U'Mechila. I understand why people are very happy. Yom Shenitnu Bo Luchot HaAchronot. You are aware, Vayomer Hashem Salachti Dvarecha was on Yom Kippur. Ela Tetvav Ve'av Mai. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, listen to this. Yom Shehutru Shvatim Lavo Ze Baze. What does it mean?
Intermarry.
Yeah, look at the Rashi. Hutru Shvatim Lavo Ze Baze. There's a few good things. Hutru Shvatim Lavo Ze Baze.
Larry, this is one like Sephardim can marry Ashkenazim. You know?
I have a feeling I can't. You said it's 30. I didn't hear you. 30.
30b. Yom Shehutru Shvatim Ze Baze.
Yeah, isn't that with Binyamin when they had that?
This is the next one. Look at the Rashi.
I have to find it. Hold on. Okay.
How can you? This is again the Lamed Amud Bet.
Got it.
Lamed Amud Bet before the white line by us. It's approximately 3/4.
Does he have Surat Adaf where he opens?
No, I just didn't hear. That was the problem. I'm sorry.
שהותרו שבטים לבוא זה בזה, ורחמנה אמר, בכל בת יורשת נחלה, you remember? The daughter of Tzlopchad came. And you have to realize what went on. They inherit what the father had. So this is a huge portion. It's not you get 1/5 of your father's Yerusha. Everything that belonged to the father goes. If they marry to another Shevet,
right, they lose it.
They lose it. So look what Rashi says.
Well, that was the deal. He told them you can marry, but you have to marry in the same.
רחמנה אמר בכל בת יורשת נחלה, וכתיב ולא תיסוף נחלה ממטה למטה אחר, כי איש בנחלתו ידבקו בני ישראל. Now, if you read the Pesukim when it's written, so for every generation, yes, a woman that inherited the family estate has to marry to someone in the family. Now right, but you do realize that financially, it's not the same problem as Bnot Tzlopchad. Bnot Tzlopchad got everything the father had.
Right.
If you 100 years later you inherit a small portion of your father.
Right.
Here it's the entire family goes to them.
But this problem only happens if there's no boys. I mean, if there's boys, then that's not a question.
So הותרו שבטים לבוא זה בזה means a generation later, single girls who inherit everything the father had are permitted to marry someone from another tribe. Look at the Gemara.
So how could they solve the problem?
So look. Of course you are.
The problem didn't go away.
אמר רב יהודה, אמר שמואל, יום שהותרו שבטים לבוא זה בזה, מה ידרוש? You cannot just make up, okay, it's מותר. זה הדבר שציווה השם לבנות צלופחד. דבר זה, מה זה הדבר? דבר זה לא יהיה נוהג, אלא בדור זה. This halacha, yes? Okay? Which means
it's limited.
That Tetvav B'Av was the date that the Sanhedrin HaGadol headed by Moshe, yes, came up with this halacha that only the generation of Bnot Tzlopchad, and this is why the pasuk ends up, Vatiyena Bnot Tzlopchad, the Bnei Dodehen, they got married to the cousin. Now, it's interesting. So why is it such an exciting day? It is the fact that single girls from every Shevet cannot marry, but what is the big difference? I mean, every Shevet is between 30,000 to 55,000. Okay, so you cannot, the answer is psychologically, suddenly there is a separation between the tribes. You realize? But as Jimmy said, how many girls like this were there? 50, 25.
It's not a lot.
Still, psychologically, we cannot marry you. You know, I'm using an example only. You know, when the old Satmar Rebbe died, he didn't have children. Unfortunately, after the Holocaust, he got married, didn't have children. Okay, so...
He never had children?
No, he had before.
They died?
Yeah. Now, he didn't have children, so his nephew became the head. Fine. Everything is fine. But there's always in Judaism, when you're building something, everyone is united. The minute you become big, they split. Okay, so today the two Satmar rabbis are very successful. Each one has, but in the beginning, can you imagine? We would not marry your daughter. Somebody suggested
they had it. Really?
They didn't write down we're not.
No,
but the reality was.
So Kiryat Joel is one.
Today, right. But today, it's not such a big deal. But in the beginning of the first few years, no. Bobo was exactly the same. It's psychologically, no one ever said don't marry. And we have, okay, psychologically, people look at it.
Wow.
This is what the Gemara means. The Gemara means the minute you have limitations and certain Jewish daughters cannot marry certain, psychologically, we are looking at them as they are different.
So this thing that they couldn't marry other tribes, even if they had brothers, you're saying, this rule...
No. If it's only if the daughter is the only in the single...
Right, she's the only without a brother.
Correct.
Then it's a problem.
Correct.
So that means before this, if a boy could marry a girl as long as she had brothers, they could try.
Of course.
So only these particular girls...
I'm showing you.
It's mi'ut of a mi'ut.
Correct.
It still was a big day.
It created the separation because psychologically,
even for a small percentage, this is... wow.
In the beginning, we have our butcher shop, and you have the slaughterhouse is the same. But this is human.
Here also the same thing happened. But first, to the Damascus people, Egyptian,
Exactly. Joseph is exactly the same.
Yeah,
human nature. This is human nature. My wife told me that she was dating once a Moroccan guy. A few days. He says to her, on the 6th day, the boy, does your father know that I'm Moroccan?
I said, that's the first thing.
He says, what's the difference? He says to him, I never married a Ashkenazi girl because the boy was this, if my father-in-law would know this is dating her. But this is obviously we're talking about 55 years ago, it makes a difference. I was sure. Today it's very common. Today you see.
Today the kids, I'll tell you what, but the kids in the old country, they pass the heritage down much stronger. So if let's say I'm using the example of, let's say from Halab would have married Lebanese, I'm using that. It was they stayed there. It was passed down. It wasn't in America. Everything got like a you know what I'm saying? No. The kids don't even. Correct. My father told me in Halab, one guy, he wanted to marry his daughter to a guy from Damascus. So his friend came to him. He goes, "You're gonna let your daughter marry a Damascus guy?" So they broke up. You're not gonna believe it. The guy who told this guy that, when he took that boy for his daughter. So they had a fight, and they, you know, like he shambled the guy, not because it's personal, but
Good morning, Rani. Good morning. We are learning the Gemara in Masechet Ta'anit.
Good morning.
What makes today, the 15th of Av, a special day? So the Gemara gave us one reason is because Jewish girls, single girls who inherited the entire amount of the father, a generation later was permitted to marry, even though the percentage of those girls were very small. Nevertheless, the minute we cannot mix with you, it creates a rift in your mind or in reality. But look at the next one, it's really fascinating. Amar Rav Yosef, Amar Rav Nachman, a different explanation. Yom Shehutar, Shevet Binyamin, Navo Bakar. What is that? Pilegesh Bagiva, everyone agrees that the atrocity that was done to this woman, raped multiple times, had to be, one section of Binyamin had to be punished. An army of 400,000 Jews are coming to Binyamin. It's your sin, take care. Binyamin did not. So it was a Jewish war, tens of thousands of people.
Binyamin was very successful the first few days. That's the unbelievable. How many Jews?
It's a total of about 75,000.
That's not a joke. There's a civil war here.
At the end, they realized we have to stop, but they made a shua. Look at this. איש ישראל נשבע במצפה לאמור, איש ממנו לא ייתן ביתו לבנימין. Which means we killed many of them, most of them. Those who are left cannot marry anyone from other Shevet. Basically, you are going to end Shevet Binyamin. But on Tetvav Be'avin today, Mai Darush, Amar Rav Mimenu Velo Mibanenu. You hear this? Ish Mimenu, which means Jimmy would not give, but your son, your daughter.
Same kind of Darush, same kind of.
No, but you realize, which means the Gemara is trying to show us that somehow in this day, that day, look a second at Rashi.
What kind of society can do that to allow 75 people to die? I mean, what are the rabbis? What are the leaders?
The rabbis are, no, I'm saying it now as a joke. The rabbis have time to speak on the Suda Shlishit or Yom Kippur. But in reality, there are demands of society. There's nothing you can do.
So what can you say about that society?
Joseph, I'll give you an example. You know that the big portion of Israelis believe and really believe. How is it possible that 6 hours passed from the time the Arabs attacked on October 7 till the Arabs? 6 hours? They didn't want the army to come. They wanted Netanyahu to be put down. So they are willing to let thousands to die, tens of thousands to be injured, then a woman to be raped. Why? Netanyahu has to go. It's a socialist idea. What is communism? Kill as many as you want. We have to build a society.
Israel, the left and the right can have a civil war, and they said
there's no question that it's very possible. But there's no question that many people are feeling it very much. It's pushing out of the edge. It's a very. How come Joseph? How come the left did not let any religious person to become a general and to become the chief of state? Because subconsciously they believe that if the religious Zionists are taking over, they might. I mean, normally what you suspect others is about really what you have. What you do, yes, that's it. It's
what's happening in this country? You know,
of course it's
the same battle here.
Joseph, we love to think, but again, you have to come.
No, power struggle, I understand, but to have killing each other to 75,000.
Joseph is right. The minute you start a war, you forget already. People say that every machloket, the first minute of the machloket, it's a myth. Then on it becomes personal. He is right. I mean, Joseph, you have to look carefully. This is what. Okay.
History
Joseph, and this Tisha B'Av, if you watch some of the religious videos, they show, they interview a man, you hear this? The story goes like this. I saw it already a few years ago, but now they made an extraordinary. A fellow is going to visit his granddaughter in this summer camp. He's going with his son-in-law. They're passing a person, and this fellow is just waving hello to the guy. His son-in-law says to him, "Who's there?"
Oh, God, this is an unbelievable story.
Oh, no, he says to him, remember, this is the generation where most of the adults were Holocaust survivors. He says to him, "Who is this man?" He says, "Well, we used to be a very good friend. I never ever had you mention his name. I said, forget about it. Tell me what the story is." Before the war, he was like my brother. Yeah? We had plans together to save our families, and father-in-law says, prepared passports for my father, my mother, and my siblings. And I hid it in a place that no one knew but
him.
My best friend.
Wow. He stole them?
He came to take it a few days later. Was he there? Who took it? Joseph here. I lost all my siblings, and he saved the siblings. So the son-in-law says to the father-in-law, "So why didn't you beat? I mean, in America, why didn't you beat him up?" He says, "Because I became older and mature. This is why." You hear it. I mean, he says, "I understand this was a different time. We were desperate. Of course, what he made is wrong, but at least you hear they're saying hello to each other. They're not. This is what life does."
That's crazy. That's
No, but he says, "Don't worry, for month to month." But he says, "I have a family. I'm successful. I should hold the grudge and be angry all the time." It's meant to be. I mean, it takes a lot of. No, but this is it.
You know something about you saying, God forbid, when somebody loses somebody.
Yeah.
I went for a physical yesterday. So the doctor tells me there's this test now you could take to check your for plaque in your, I don't know, for heart disease, whatever it is. Because I said, well, always, what's the downside? It's not covered by insurance. It's $150. I said, okay, that should be the okay. So I was telling my wife. I said, should I do it? She goes, her father passed away maybe 30 years now. She still says his family had a heart. We checked his heart. He died, God forbid, from cancer. But this is 30 years later. She was saying it like it was yesterday. She's saying we checked everything. So what's the point of checking? But it's 30 years.
He says it's what?
30 years.
Yeah.
No, she was saying it, Rabbi, like I felt it in her voice, like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
But by the way, you still have to check. Sorry.
No. But what she's saying is,
I know people fall. The loss is a loss. I know that.
Afraid all the time and don't think 24/7.
She was saying like, no. She was just saying like sometimes you check for this and then what's going to happen is going to happen. We checked the heart and God forbid he ended up with lung cancer.
But you have to.
I know.
As Rani said, you have to.
Check the heart. You may have to take medicine, whatever it is. You have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, my point is the emotion is
my father-in-law had one of his best friends, Richard Apollo, right? Survivor. And the man had heart problems. And this was if he comes to his cardiologist, which was the big one in Maimonides, and says to him, "Doctor, something is wrong." Says to him, "Mr. Topolo, we took 2 months ago a thorough test. You're perfect." Mr. Topolo says to him, "I'm telling you that." Says it's your cost. Would you like to do it again? Everything was fine. A week later, he suffered a massive heart attack.
Wow.
This is the Gemara. You know that this has halachic consequences. The Gemara says if all the doctors are saying to a patient, "You are fine," and he says, "I feel," and Yom Kippur, this is Yom Kippur. Why? The Gemara is using a pasuk. The pasuk is Lev Yodea Sarat Nafsho. The person is exactly
people know their own bodies. They know their own bodies.
This was the case.
No, they just happened in our community. 6 million, Richard Bobo.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if you hear that. He came home from a trip. The guy's in his low 60s. He said, "I don't feel good." They took him to the hospital. They did all the check, and they said nothing's wrong. They sent him home. Massive heart attack.
Oh.
Massive. Hazidi went into a coma, and then
Oh,
No, but this is
Richard Bobo,
yeah, but this is
oh, I didn't know that.
the hospital. sent
this
him
is
off.
exactly the case. Now let's go further. Anyway, so Joseph's question. Everyone made a vow, איש ממנו לא ייתן את ביתו, but מה דרוש ממנו ולא מבנינו. The truth is they did something more. They went to one tribe that they did not attend the war, and they were not included in this vow. And fine. Another pshat, אמר רבא בר חנא, אמר רבי יוחנן, יום שכלו בו מתי מדבר.
This is famous.
It's very famous. דאמר מר, עד שלא כלו מתי מדבר, we never realized this part, לא היה דיבור עם משה. Hashem did not talk directly to Moshe for almost 40 years. שנאמר, ויהי כאשר תמו כל אנשי המלחמה למות, וידבר השם אליי. אליי היה הדיבור. Look a second, Rashi and Tosfot here are both saying the same. Look at the Rashi on the left, שכלו מתי מדבר. I'm just going to add something that you didn't hear. נתניה, כל 40 שנה ג'וזף שהיו במדבר, בכל ערב תשעה באב היה כרוז יוצא ואומר, צאו לחפור. Can you imagine? 600,000 people on the first Tisha B'Av went to dig graves, ערב תשעה באב, and at night everyone went into the grave to sleep. והיה כל אחד ואחד יוצא וחופר לו קבר וישן, שמא ימות קודם שיחפור. ולמחר הכרוז יוצא, כרוז יוצא מזה announcement, ייבדלו חיים מתוך המתים. כל שהיה בו נפש חיים היה עומד ויוצא. Can you imagine? So the first year, 15,000 remained in the graves. 585 came out. Every year, 15,000.
Why didn't they all not dig and whoever dies?
Okay, so no. So, okay, so they wanted, you have to realize that each one of them did teshuvah. Each one of them said goodbye to the family. Each one, I heard from few people, Jimmy Bennett, people in our age, that when they were very sick, what they discovered suddenly is how loyal the family is to them. The guy says to me, you know, I raised a nice family, my kids are independent. The minute I had a problem, suddenly I realized how loyal my kids are to me. So Joseph is asking, why didn't they die regularly? Because
no, my question is that you have 140 years. It means that one person will die. 40 people are there to bury him. So you cannot count on these people.
The family. ובשנת 40 שנה, the 40th year, עשו, ולמחר עמדו כולם חיים. Here on the 40th year, somehow, no one died, the last 15,000. וכיוון שראו כך, תמהו ואמרו, they wondered, שמא טעינו בחשבון. Maybe it's not תשעה באב. חזרו ושכבו בקבריהם בלילות, עד ליל 15. Until the 15th, כיוון שראו tonight, is the last night of קידוש לבנה, כיוון שראו שנתמראה לבנה, ותתבע ולא מת אחד, ידעו שהחשבון חדש מכוון, וכבר 40 שנה שגזרה נשלמה. One of the commentators says, we read last week, ויתחנן אל השם בעת ההיא לאמור. משה רבנו says, I prayed to Hashem at that time, 515 prayers. What triggered? Which date was it? Look again. The Gemara says here, Hashem didn't speak to Moshe. So this fellow claims that Tetvav, this Tisha B'Av, what triggered it. Moshe suddenly realized, even though Hashem swore that none of the people will go in, Hashem, after intense prayers, canceled it. This is what inspired Moshe to have the 500.
Oh, you mean that he might be saved?
If I see from them the power of prayers, that even though Hashem swore, Hashem canceled it because people did pray. Okay, it's an interesting shot. There was a man in
I heard it different. Says it. It says the last year they knew there was nobody else. So that means the year before, let's say when there was 30,000 people, that means 15,000 didn't pray. Didn't pray with 100% kavanah. It was 99. So the last year when that's it, that means the kavanah was 100% that year.
Right. So this is whoever told you took it from it's a famous drush by someone.
Okay.
Which means
they're like on death row.
Yeah.
But even though for the last 39 years they did pray,
but this time it was.
This time you know
that nothing else.
It's over.
So it's 100%, not 99.99.
Right. So this is what Moshe. In my neighborhood, as a kid, I remember an old man. He lived like 5 houses. His name was Mordechai Kamenetsky. I read 25 years ago. People used to see him sometimes in the middle of the night, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, walking with a candle. Where are you going? He's going to shul to learn. Yeah, Mr. Kamenetsky, when I was young, I have an incurable disease. This is before he had penicillin. The doctor told his parents he's definitely dying. He has bronchitis. So his parents told him, go to Israel. There's no die in Israel. So I came to Israel and somehow, somehow was cured. So I figured to myself like this. Imagine for 40 years, Joseph, you wake up in the morning when you're alive. Did you turn to the other side with the pillow or you jumped out of the grave?
You jumped out.
You jump out. I mean, he says, every time I wake up at 4 or 3, I says, thank you, Hashem, jumping out. He took upon himself that every time he wakes up, obviously that he got to the bathroom, yes, he's coming out. But this is the idea. The idea is the last year.
We have the same concept. We just read it by Eir Meklab.
Right.
So the Kohen Gadol, they used to say, right, the mother of the Kohen Gadol would give cookies. What's the cookie? The cookie just takes the 100, makes it 99, and it doesn't work.
Now look further at the Gemara. Ula Amar, 2 lines for the bottom. Yom shebitel Hoshea ben Eila prudosiyot שהושיב ירבעם בנבט על הדרכים שלא יעלו ישראל לרגל ואמר לאיזה שירצו יעלו. I'll tell you why this is an amazing state. Yeravam not only put 2 egel north and south, he put soldiers to prevent you going to Beit HaMikdash. Comes this man, he's a king. Look at the Rashi on top.
He says Rasha.
Look at the Rashi. Rasha, Hoshea ben Eila Rasha היה. דכתיב, ויעשה הרע בעיני השם רק לא כמלכי ישראל דהיינו, רק שביטל את he says, I still believe in Avodah Zarah, but I'm giving the free choice.
But he was the king of Yisrael.
Yes. It says in Tanakh. So the Gemara says.
So what does it mean? Rak lo kemalachei
No,
Yisrael?
Rak. You was not like the previous kings who prevented you. Right. Who prevented you from going up. No, but it's also an amazing.
Right.
I'm bad, but I'm not as bad as the one before. By what? Because he said, at least I'm giving people a free choice. Rav Matna Amar, Yom, שניתנו בו, today was the day, שניתנו בו הרוגי ביתר לקבורה. Yes? Look at the Rashi a second. Rashi said, בפרק הניזקין, the Gemara says, there were tens of thousands of bodies that the Romans did not allow us to bury. And they piled up the bodies. Somehow, the bodies did not decay. So that day, they gave us permission to bury them. Look at the Gemara continues. ואמר רב מתנה, אותו יום שניתנו הרוגי ביתר לקבורה, תקנו ביבנה הטוב והמתים. What we say every day בברכת המזון, if you say, הטוב והמתים, הטוב שלא הסריחו the bodies, והמתים שניתנו לקבורה. Okay, so you have already five reasons what makes the day special. Look at the last one. ורב יוסף, רבא ורב יוסף דאמרת רביו, שפסקו מלכרות העצים למערכה. Which means, look at the Rashi, מלכרות, לפי שהם לחים. Every time you chop trees to use the tree for the Mizbeach, It has to dry out. When you chop it, it's still moist. ומאותו זמן אין כוח בחמה ליבשה. Today, from today on, the sun is not strong enough to dry. So what do you gain? So what is the big deal? Look at the Gemara. יום שפסקו מלכרות עצים למערכה, and רבי אליעזר הגדול אומר ב-15 באב, from today, תשש כוחה של חמה, the sun is not as strong, ולא היו כורתים עצים למערכה לפי שאינם יבשים. אמר רב מנשיה, וקראו ליום תבר מגל, to break the sickles, to break the excess. What's the big deal? מכאן ואילך, דמוסיף יסיף, ולא מוסיף יעשה. What does it mean? And because of that, thousands of people had more time, let's say an hour and a half extra to learn Torah. So this is what makes today an exciting day. Each reason by itself is a beautiful reason. But the last one, the Jewish people are celebrating a day that thousands of people have an extra time to study. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow. Guys, we're learning here in Galut. This is
Thank you. Zachabarov.
I heard yesterday, I think it was the Hatam Sofer, he quoted, said with the marriages,